Ever since arriving at Château de Purnon over 5 years ago, we've lived with the fear of a catastrophic fire destroying all that has been saved. As soon as we arrived, we cleaned the chimneys, removed chests full of stocked wood, removed old heating fuel tanks from the chateau basement, and began systematically removing hundreds of meters of dangerous and old electrical cabling. But these urgent measures were just the beginning. This week, come with us as we work with the experts to protect Château de Purnon from the risk of fire. And so we have broken our fire management plan into 3 sets of measures. Firstly, the things that we can do to reduce the risk of fire here at Château de Purnon. Secondly, the things that we can install to ensure early detection of a fire here. And thirdly, the things that we can do to help us and the professional firefighters in the case of a fire. Overloaded, old or defective electricals are a very common cause of fire, and here at Purnon, when we arrived, there were successive generations of electrical wires crisscrossing many rooms and corridors of the chateau. Some of it worked, most of it didn't, all of it had to go, and gradually we have been removing and replacing all of it. Every autumn we put to use a small number of Purnon's original 18th century fireplaces, but the build-up of flammable deposits within the chimney causes a huge risk for a chimney fire, and here at Purnon a chimney fire would spread very quickly and be very difficult to contain. Now, every one of Purnon's 10 chimney stacks were all restored as part of the roof restoration work, but it's important that we keep the chimneys clean to prevent a chimney fire and carbon monoxide poisoning. And so at this time each year we set to work to clean the chimneys to ensure that we reduce the risk of a chimney fire and that we are safe and warm during the upcoming winter months.
So as well as reducing the risk of fire, one of the most effective things we can do is improve the level of warning we get if there is an incident. So our friends from Xsense have come to the rescue with some really fantastic products. Now, all of these products are European standard compliant, so that's EN 14604, that's the European standard for smoke detectors and fire alarms. And we've got here really 3 different types of products. We've got their smoke detectors themselves. We've got these here which are combined smoke and carbon monoxide sensors. So these go near the fireplaces. Now we're only planning to use 3 of the fireplaces here at Purnon. Yeah. And so we've got 1 for each of those. These are heat alarms, and really these are for the kitchen.
Okay,
because you need a very specific device for those. So I know you've been having a look at the smoke detectors themselves. We've got I think we've got 36 smoke detectors.
Yep, so there's 2 ways of running a network of these alarms. And so one way is to interconnect them all without any access to power or Wi-Fi. But the second way is we can use a base station and we can connect up to 49 individual alarms, and that is all run through the app then. And what that means is once one alarm goes off, the entire network will go off, and so we can then see on the app where the hotspot is, so where the alarm was initially triggered from. On the app we can also then stop the alarms from ringing, and so that means that we don't have to climb up ladders.
Okay, I mean that's fantastic for us, because with 4.5 metre ceilings and even higher in the attic, having to scramble up a ladder to run a test or to turn an alarm off, that's really quite difficult.
Yep, and so actually on testing, we can test via the app as well. So we can test individual alarms, or we can test the entire network. The other thing that is going to give us so much peace of mind is that we will receive alerts through the app, and so we will be notified if there is a hotspot. So the challenge for us is we do not have power and Wi-Fi on all our floors. And so my original thoughts were we would run a horizontal system for each floor, which is the attic, the second floor, the first floor, the ground floor and the basement. And then that would mean that only some of the floors were using a base station because we don't have the power and Wi-Fi to all the floors. And then I thought what we should actually test is running the system vertically, because then we might be able to get all the alarms on one single base station if they're all connecting vertically and then horizontally, because they can connect up to 500 metres.
Okay. So I guess the next question is where should we be placing these smoke alarms, these smoke detectors? And we need to make sure we have them relatively centrally located, as far as that's possible within a bedroom. We need to avoid those sort of dead spots in corners of rooms. Okay. And we can mount them on a wall, but we should only mount them on a wall as opposed to a ceiling in very specific circumstances. We need to not be too close to the ceiling itself, and we really need to avoid those dead spots where it won't function effectively.
Okay, so if we run the base station from the ground floor and work out from there, so that would be here in the bureau.
Yeah, because we know that's got extremely strong Wi-Fi.
Yep. CN1 in the salon d'hiver.
Okay.
2 in the salle à manger is 3. 4, 5, 6, 7.
10, 12, 15.
17.
17. 20.
22 corner bedroom.
23.
23 and 24. 25 is the billiard room. 28 and 29. 30 in the staircase.
31 should be in this one. 32 in the cuisine. 34, 35 there. And then 36 perhaps down in this passageway here.
Okay, so we've got our work cut out for us now. We've got to install 36 smoke alarms from Xsense. We've got 3 smoke and carbon monoxide ones.
And 2 heat alarms.
Okay, 41 units to install. Okay, let's take our maps and let's get to it. The entrance.
Okay, so this is just a smoke detector, and really the key criteria here, this space is going to be all restored in really less than 6 months' time. Yeah. So we don't have to be too concerned about the aesthetics of it, because we'll obviously move it when we restore the ceiling and paint it. But I think up here, about at least 50 centimetres off the side of the wall to make sure that it's not in a dead zone. Yeah. Obviously we don't want to be on this side of the room because there's the security system and we don't want the signals really interfering with each other. And apart from that, I think this is a good spot for it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
You've got everything you need?
I think so.
It works, babe.
Okay, very good. One down, 40 to
You'll be
go.
able to hear it over the drilling of the stonemason. So this is the storage room, so I'm going to mark it on the app as
Yep.
Entresol storage room.
Yep, and I think we should just make sure, obviously it's more than 50 centimetres off any corner, off
Yeah,
any
the
wall.
door needs to open.
The door needs to be able to open.
A metre there.
Yep. Yep. So that's the spot.
Let's test it off the app.
So we're on the second floor. We want to put up several in the bedrooms that are proposed for up here, a couple on the corridors, and we just need to measure the length of the corridor because we know that we don't want them more than 30 feet or 10 metres or so apart. Let's give it a quick measure.
Go for it, babe.
I'm kind of curious to find out what it is. It's 35 metres.
35 metres?
35 metres, that's about right when you look at the length of the corridor. If this was 3 lengths, that would be 100 metres.
Okay, so then 35 metres, the full length, and it was, what was it, 10 metres between each one?
They're supposed to be basically 30 feet, apart, no more than 30 feet apart. We've got to make sure we're 10 metres in on that one, and 10 metres in on this one. We need 3 on the corridors. I think we should put one up here, basically. And as long as that's not 50 centimetres, more than 50 centimetres from that little corner, which is a dead zone, we should be fine. Yeah, so 50 is not much.
And put it in the centre?
Put it in the centre and that's going to be fine.
I have to say, this is really easy.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah. And easy to add them to the app and rename them and have this great plan.
Yeah, I do like the
What do you need, the pencil?
the app as a feature. Yeah, it's perfectly square.
So this is
Second floor, corridor east.
Okay. Corridor east, second floor. So where are we popping the first of the attic ones, babe?
Okay, so this one's going up on that beam there at the top. Now, this one's proven quite challenging to position. It needs to be up high, obviously, smokes hot air and hot air rises, and if it's down too low, then there needs to be too much smoke before it's finally activated. But if we put it too high up into the apex, then it ends up in a dead zone and it'll sort of never be activated.
Okay.
And so we've got to get it in the sweet spot, and on that beam there, I think is the right spot for it. It's just a bit of an ascent up the ladder here.
Oh, this is so good. The attic is the space that's been worrying me the most.
Okay, so it's now in.
Okay, let me test it. Attic West, it's online.
Yep.
Device test.
Okay, so it definitely works.
It works. So there's a second one up here, then there's one in the billiard room, and then another 2 on the eastern side of the attic.
Okay.
So we are going to run a live smoke test, and we should get an alert on the app, and it should actually send all the detectors in the entire chateau off.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
So it actually worked off not a huge amount of smoke.
Yeah, everything's
quite
going off. And my app's going off. I'll stop it now. Silence all. Yeah, so the app says smoke alarm triggered. I got a notification on my phone that was quite loud. We could hear all the smoke detectors in the entire chateau go off. And then I've got on my phone smoke alarm triggered, and I can locate which one it is, and I can silence all. So
Can you check that the locations worked, because we know what this one's called.
device located. Here it is, corridor east, alarm triggered. And then it shows you the others and says if there's smoke on them or not.
Okay, that's interesting. So,
Yeah.
so even if they're going, it will actually differentiate between those that have been the primary source of the alarm and those that are just going off in sympathy, so to speak.
How good's that?
It's excellent.
That is serious peace of mind.
And what I liked was that it worked with, frankly, not a lot of smoke.
No, there's not a lot of smoke at all.
Which
It's
means
just the
that
bee
if somebody
smoker.
was to smoke in the chateau, I think it would be enough to set the alarms off, which would give them the shock of their life, which I'm not unhappy about at all.
Amazing.
Good, very good. Great.
Job well done, babe.
Well done.
Purnon
Okay.
protected. Okay, I better get this outside.
Yep, great idea.
Château de Purnon is one of the most significant private buildings in our region. Fighting a fire here presents real challenges. So, the Departmental Fire Brigade has sent out an expert to assess the property and ensure we do everything we can to make sure this majestic domain is not only protected, but in the case of a disaster, has the best chance possible of survival. In the event of a major fire, the firefighters need large supplies of water close to the chateau, delivered at pressure. Fortunately, we have huge volumes of water collected from our roofs and stored in massive cisterns. But we have some work to do to make this water available.
Je pense que ce qu'il faudrait faire, c'est faire des conduites qui viennent dans l'eau.
Une colonne sèche.
Une colonne sèche. On peut faire une colonne sèche, par exemple, qui pourrait arriver ici, par exemple. Vous pouvez la mettre à l'intérieur ici si vous voulez pas trop que ce soit visible pour pas.
Ok.
Voilà, mais en tout cas, il faudra qu'elle soit quand même bien matérialisée pour que les pompiers la voient bien.
Oh là, ça c'est possible ou non?
Là-bas, pourquoi pas, oui. Là-bas,
Ok.
pourquoi pas. Le camion, il se met là, et puis après, avec les pompiers, tirent des tuyaux pour pouvoir accéder ici ou pour pouvoir accéder là-bas. Justement, peut-être que faire une connexion avec l'eau de ville, ce sera trop compliqué et trop cher.
Oui.
Auquel cas, ce sera plus simple de faire un trou pour se connecter directement à votre réserve, d'autant qu'elles existent en fait, vos réserves.
Ok.
D'accord, et faire juste une colonne sèche pour qu'on vienne se raccorder, à mon avis, c'est ce qu'il y a de plus simple.
Ça c'est le deuxième.
Et ça, c'est récolte des eaux de pluie de ce bâtiment-là.
De là. Et
Ça arrive ici en fait, hein.
oui,
Ok. Et celui-là, il est jamais vide non plus.
jamais. J'ai jamais vu ça vide.
Si on doit mettre une colonne sèche,
Oui,
je pense que le mieux, c'est de la faire sortir là-haut en fait.
là.
Ouais.
Ok.
Si on peut, si c'est pas trop, mais normalement. Alors, il faudra bien qu'on voit que vous me donniez aussi la hauteur qui est entre le niveau de l'eau
Et normalement, l'autre.
et le niveau ici, parce que là, en fait, dans la description d'une colonne sèche, c'est pas exactement le même principe. Une colonne sèche,
Oui,
c'est les pompiers arrivent, se branchent sur le réseau d'eau de la ville,
Oui.
d'accord. Et ensuite, avec des tuyaux, ils vont venir se prendre sur une colonne sèche
oui.
et ils vont pousser l'eau avec leur moteur, leur pompe.
Ah, il est une pompe.
Voilà.
Mais
Le principe d'une colonne sèche, c'est ça.
Oui,
Là,
ok.
en fait, l'eau, on va être obligé de l'aspirer. C'est différent. Alors qu'une colonne sèche, on pousse l'eau dans une conduite pour desservir en fait les étages d'un bâtiment qui est haut. C'est à ça que ça sert une colonne sèche.
C'est pas la même chose.
C'est pas tout à fait la
Oui,
même chose.
ok.
Après, on a des problématiques de hauteur d'aspiration.
Ok.
Parce que là, on va devoir aspirer l'eau. Donc, si c'est trop haut, on ne peut plus aspirer. Quel que soit. Voilà. Donc, il faudra bien me donner la dimension, la distance
Le
qu'il y
niveau
aura entre le niveau de l'eau sur lequel on viendra mettre la buse en bas qui viendra
Oui.
prendre l'eau et le niveau de l'eau où l'eau elle sortira ici, puisque nous on viendra se brancher là.
Ok.
D'accord. Et si c'est trop haut, ben, on ne pourra pas exploiter ça. Il y a aussi la solution de faire une conduite, hein, comme on évoquait tout à l'heure, qui vient se reprendre là et qui sort devant l'entrée là. Hein. Okay. Comme ça, le camion il vient ici, il se branche, il vient prendre l'eau dans la réserve, puis après on met des tuyaux, puis on va combattre le feu. Et ce qui est intéressant, c'est de pouvoir mener l'attaque sur deux fronts différemment. Okay. De ne pas concentrer tout au même endroit. Oui. Parce que, notamment si le feu part dans la toiture, ça progresse très très vite.
Capitan Monty will work with us to create a document outlining the chateau's most important pieces of art, furniture or documents. This would allow the firemen to immediately know the priority of what to try and save in the case of a fire.
Qu'on fasse tout un travail derrière pour pouvoir donner un document aux pompiers qui interviendraient en leur disant, ben voilà, là les œuvres prioritaires c'est celle-là. Voilà comment on les évacue, voilà le matériel qu'il faut, voilà où on doit les mettre. On peut protéger certaines choses, mais voilà.
So today our plumber has been, and that is the start of the process now for the installation of the colonne sèche that we need at each of our cisterns so that the firefighters can access the water in those cisterns should they need to. We have also received a delivery of a fire blanket that will go in the kitchen, and we have also received the delivery of our fire extinguishers. These are 6 kilogram ABC extinguishers. They are rated for use on Class A materials, that is wood, trash, paper, fabrics. Class B, which is flammable liquids, and C, which is live electrical equipment. And so we will have an extinguisher mounted in the same location on every floor of the chateau. And I think it's safe to say that at the end of this week, Purnon is a much safer place in terms of fire prevention than it was at the start of the week. Well, it is an absolutely spectacular autumn morning here at the Chateau, and I have to say at the end of a week where huge progress has given us greater peace of mind with the progression of the fire protection plan for the Chateau.
Yeah, I think we all watched with horror when we saw the fire at Notre Dame, and one of the responsibilities that we feel as the custodians of this building is that we're not just responsible for restoring it and preserving and conserving it, but we're also responsible for protecting it. And the fire protection measures that you've seen in this episode are all part of the plan to make sure that the incredible work that's being done by our artisans is protected for generations to come. And a big shout out to the guys at Xsense who've come on board and supplied the smoke detectors that you saw us installing, the carbon monoxide detectors, and also those heat detectors that will go in our new kitchen when that's finished. In a building like Château de Purnon, you can't just go and purchase the cheapest products off the shelf. You need to find high quality products, but ones that work together as part of an integrated system. There are a lot of detectors that have gone into the Chateau to provide that peace of mind that Flick was just talking about. So thank you to the Xsense team. We couldn't be happier with the products that we've put in place here at Purnon.
Yep, and we have now on our app, in our pockets all the time, the updates from the smoke detectors. So if anything happens, we will know immediately, which is just wonderful. And as always, if you would like to follow the restoration of Château de Purnon more closely, we post an exclusive weekly video for our YouTube and Patreon members. We post frequent updates on Instagram. Otherwise, just hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and Truth and us will keep you updated here.